Ever wondered what network scanning is or how it's used in ethical hacking? Well, let's dive into it. Network scanning at its core is a process that allows us to understand a network's architecture and identify any potential security vulnerabilities. It's a bit like a detective sifting through clues, looking for any signs of weakness that could be exploited by cyber criminals. Now, when we talk about ethical hacking, we're referring to the good guys, the cybersecurity professionals who use their skills to find and fix these vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. Network scanning is one of their most potent tools, allowing them to map out a network, identify potential weak spots, and then work to strengthen those areas. It's a fascinating field full of complexities and challenges. Stay tuned to learn more about the different types of network scanning utilized in ethical hacking. Scene script. First on the list, we have port scanning. Imagine a bustling city full of houses. Each house has doors and windows, some open, some closed. In the world of networks, these houses are your computers or servers, and the doors and windows are the ports. Port scanning, in its simplest terms, is like a walk through this city, checking which doors and windows are open. But why do we need to know which ports are open? Well, each open port on a network signifies an active service that is running. These services could range from web servers to file sharing systems to email servers. Knowing what's running on a network gives us a better understanding of the network's function, its security posture, and potential vulnerabilities. Now you might wonder, what do hackers have to do with all this? Well, just like how a burglar might look for an open window to break into a house, hackers look for open ports as potential entry points to gain unauthorized access or disrupt network services. Port scanning serves as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a valuable tool for system administrators and security professionals. They use it to identify open ports, evaluate security measures, and ensure that no unnecessary services are running that could potentially be exploited. On the other hand, it's also a handy tool for those with malicious intent. Unscrupulous individuals can use the information obtained from port scanning to identify potential vulnerabilities and launch cyber attacks. That's why it's so important for network administrators to regularly conduct port scans and address any security issues they find. Port scanning techniques vary, but they all serve the same purpose: to identify open ports and the services running on them. Some methods are stealthy and slow, going unnoticed by most network monitoring tools. Others are fast and aggressive, but they run the risk of being detected and blocked. In the grand scheme of network security, port scanning might seem like a small piece of the puzzle. But remember, even the smallest crack can cause a dam to burst. Port scanning, though simple, plays a crucial role in network security. Next up, we explore the intriguing world of network scanning. Now imagine you're a detective and your case revolves around unraveling the secrets of a bustling city. You don't just need a list of all the buildings, but you also need to know what's happening inside each one. That's essentially what network scanning does for cybersecurity professionals. Network scanning is a procedure that identifies active hosts on a network. It's like a roll call for all the devices connected to a network, be it computers, printers, routers, or even smart fridges. Each of these devices is a host. By running a network scan, we can find out which hosts are active, that is, switched on and connected to the network. But network scanning doesn't stop at just identifying these hosts. It's almost like a digital Sherlock Holmes, digging deeper to gather valuable information about each host. This information can include the available network services, the operating systems in use, and other characteristics. For instance, let's take network services. Each host on a network will be running a variety of services, like web servers, file servers, or email servers. By scanning the network, we can identify what services are available on each host. The operating systems in use can also be identified through network scanning. Whether a host is running Windows, macOS, or Linux can significantly impact the security strategies employed. And knowing the operating systems in use can help tailor these strategies to suit the network's needs. Lastly, network scanning can reveal other host characteristics. It could uncover hardware details, software configurations, or even network traffic patterns. All of these can provide valuable insights into the network's operation and its potential vulnerabilities. In a nutshell, network scanning is like a high-tech magnifying glass, providing a more detailed view of the network's landscape. It's a crucial tool for cybersecurity professionals, enabling them to understand the network they're protecting better and to identify potential weak spots that could be exploited by less ethical hackers. Network scanning gives us a broader view of the network's landscape. Let's dive into another essential type of scanning, vulnerability scanning. Imagine you're a doctor and your patient is a network system. Just as doctors diagnose patients for potential health issues, vulnerability scanning is the process of diagnosing a network for potential security issues. It's a systematic approach to uncovering and quantifying the security vulnerabilities that lurk within a system. Vulnerability scanning is like a detective, tirelessly probing and inspecting every nook and cranny of a network. It scans and scrutinizes the system's software, applications, and hardware, hunting for any weaknesses that could potentially be exploited by cyber attackers. Now, why is vulnerability scanning such an essential tool for ethical hackers? Well, consider it this way. Ethical hackers are like the good Samaritans of the cyber world. Their job is to find and fix vulnerabilities before the bad guys can exploit them. By conducting a vulnerability scan, ethical hackers can get a comprehensive view of the security state of a network, but it doesn't stop there. Once the vulnerabilities are found, they are then rated based on their severity. This helps prioritize the most critical vulnerabilities that need immediate attention, giving the ethical hacker a clear roadmap for strengthening network security. Remember, vulnerability scanning is not a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing process. The cyber world is ever evolving and new vulnerabilities can crop up at any time. Regular vulnerability scanning ensures that your network stays up to date with the latest security threats and stays one step ahead of potential cyber attackers. In essence, vulnerability scanning is the backbone of a robust network security strategy. It helps identify weaknesses, prioritize them based on their severity, and provide a clear path to remediation. It's all about turning the unknown into the known, the unseen into the seen, and the potential threat into a manageable task. Vulnerability scanning is like a health checkup for your network, identifying potential weak points. Last but not least, we have war dialing, a term that might sound like it's straight out of a war movie, but in the context of network scanning, it takes on a different meaning. War dialing is a method where automated software is used to dial a large set of phone numbers. The purpose? To identify which numbers can successfully make a connection to a computer modem. The concept harkens back to the days when telephones and modems were the primary means of connecting to the internet. It's like a relic from a bygone era, yet it still holds relevance today. In an age where most of us are connected via broadband or mobile data, you might wonder, why war dialing? Well, there are still systems out there that rely on dial-up connections for various reasons. By using war dialing, one can identify these systems and assess their security. War dialing may seem old school, but it can still provide valuable insights in certain scenarios. Now that we've explored the different types of network scanning, let's wrap things up. In this insightful journey, we've seen that network scanning is a crucial component of ethical hacking. It's the reconnaissance mission that every ethical hacker embarks on, to understand the landscape of the network they are dealing with. We started with port scanning, a method used to discover open ports and services available on a network host. This is a vital step in the scanning process as it helps identify potential entry points into a system. It's like knowing where the doors and windows of a house are before you can start planning your strategy. We then delved into network scanning, a broader technique that not only discovers devices on the network but also maps out their interconnections. This gives the ethical hacker a bird's eye view of the network, providing a broader perspective of the system's layout. Next, we unveiled vulnerability scanning, a method that goes beyond just identifying the network components. It's the process of finding weaknesses in the network, the chinks in the armor, if you will. This helps in understanding where the system might be susceptible to attacks. Finally, we introduced you to war dialing, an older but still relevant technique, especially in terms of VoIP systems. It involves dialing large blocks of phone numbers to find modems, fax machines, or other data entry points. Each of these scanning methods plays a pivotal role in shaping a robust network security system. Their understanding aids in building stronger defenses, predicting potential threats and mitigating risks. It's like a game of chess, where knowing the strengths and weaknesses of your pieces allows you to strategize better. Network scanning in ethical hacking is not just about finding vulnerabilities, it's about understanding the system from a hacker's perspective and using that knowledge to bolster defenses. It's about turning weaknesses into strengths. Remember, in the world of cybersecurity, knowledge is your best defense. So keep learning, keep exploring.